Good morning.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. We probably started loads of episodes with that song.
Well, why not?
Why not, indeed?
Why
It
the
is
bloody hell not?
morning, and what a fine morning. Cheers.
Is it? I've put the heating on. Don't tell anyone. But I'm freezing in the house.
Yeah, but it's still a fine morning because we've had a fine, fine week.
Elaborate. Because my week's been shit.
All the feedback.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
We're
it's been so great.
feeling the love.
So if you are a subscribe to our Blamely, you will have received a thank you email from us for being such a loyal subscriber. So if you haven't checked your inbox or your junk, because I think a lot of people think we're shit and junk,
Yeah,
so
we're drunk.
they put us in the junk pile. To check your junk, but you will have received an email from us, and thank you to everyone that's also replied. But yeah, I thought I'd put a little post out because everyone's like, "Oh, I feel like we know you," which is so lovely to hear. But a lot
Yes.
of people don't even know like what we look like, and it's so funny when you finally connect a voice to a face because you're like, "Huh,
I
is
didn't think that. Yeah.
that?"
I know. And yeah, I apologise for my face on those pictures. It's actually one of my most hated pictures of
Oh, that's
me.
hilarious! I chose that.
However, however, it was a really good day,
Yeah,
and we were in prison, so why
yeah.
not?
Exactly. And I chose those pictures because I was going through, I mean, you always hate pictures of yourself. And I was thinking, I'm not even going to be able to find a photo of my own face. And then
Yeah,
I don't want to put a decent picture of Kate up and then a shit picture of me. So I opted for the same picture of both of us.
you
So it's a
opted for
level
the
playing
opposite.
shit pictures of both of us. And I was like, well, that'll do.
That'll do.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. I mean, our faces are on YouTube, so if you haven't checked out our YouTube and you can bear staring at my face, then yeah, please do. Please
Yeah.
go and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we need more subscribers. So yeah, if you
Yeah.
if you can put up with looking at my boat, then
Your boat.
my boat race face.
Didn't even know. Didn't even know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I've had an exhausting week,
Yeah, I
but
know.
the feedback that we've had has just been so amazing. And I thought I'd suddenly gone a bit unemotional, however, not after your last episode, but I
Yeah.
thought I'd gone quite unemotional. And I thought, oh, my menopause must have shut off my emotions. So that's handy. Yeah. And then we received just all this love. And it made me all emotional. And I was like, I'm so tired and I'm
Like the Grinch,
so
your
happy.
heart, your
Yeah. I was
heart has just
like,
just grown
what's
through.
this feeling? Yeah, I was like, oh God, I'm feeling.
Badump.
Yeah.
Badump. Oh, that's
But it
funny.
was lovely. It was so lovely. And I've screenshot like all the lovely things that people have said about us. And
Yeah.
oh, I was
Well, I
so
haven't
moved.
actually. I didn't share with you one of the emails that we got back
Oh, how
from.
dare you?
I know, I get busy, man.
Yeah, I know.
But so I'll read it to you live on air.
Oh, don't make me cry on air.
Well, so I emailed obviously all of our Blamley to say thank you so much for subscribing to us. Some of our subscribers have been with us for over a year, so wanted to send out a massive thank you. We're not in the position yet to be able to send you all lovely presents because they cost a lot to send abroad.
It's coming soon.
Coming
Coming
soon,
soon.
coming soon. But we got a reply back from our letter, and she said, I'm absolutely hooked on your podcast. You guys have created this amazing sense of community, and I feel like I've found my tribe. I know I'm not the first to say it, but you truly feel like friends and family to me. Your authenticity, humour, and passion shine through in every episode, and I'm so grateful to be along for the ride. Don't cry.
I'm
Don't cry. Keep it.
feeling. I'm feeling.
Oh, I just love that. Like, it feels like a community. It feels like we're all in this together, which is what we wanted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
really nice.
absolutely what we wanted. And it's like through doing this podcast, we've found a group of people who are really like-minded that we can all kind of like discuss it. And some of the subjects that we cover, I can almost hear like Arletta and Renee, and I can almost hear them saying, yeah, that is out of order. And yeah, I do feel like that. And, yeah, that's funny, or that's shit, or that's sad, or, and I feel like we're all sharing these emotions.
Yeah.
It's really lovely.
Yeah. And I actually, when I write an episode, I always keep in mind, I think, oh, I wonder what this person will think of it, or I wonder what this person will think of it. So we do keep you in mind all the time, all of our listeners. Like, we've got so many listeners that don't get in touch, so obviously we don't know who you are, but we love you nonetheless.
Yes.
But if you get in touch, then we can put a name to
love
one
you
of
more.
the lists. Well, exactly.
Yes.
We can publicly love you.
Yes. We can love you in everyone's faces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about that, we do have a shout out.
Yeah.
So we have a shout out to Kat for joining our little Blamily. Kat has subscribed to us and has now gotten access to our Blam episodes.
Blam.
Blam. And our Blam episodes are great, actually, because they're quite different to our normal episodes in that they are little mini episodes. They're not quite as emotionally demanding as the regular episodes. They are shorter, but they are a little bit more fun, I think, some of our Blams, aren't they?
I think the Blams, because we know that it's our Blamily, it's only our Blamily that are going to be listening to us, we feel safer. I certainly do, to talk about things that maybe I wouldn't on an episode that everybody can hear.
Yeah, gosh, because that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, because sometimes, Kendrick Johnson, we got a massive flashback with that. To be honest, not that I care, because my opinions and my views are my opinions and my views, and I'm not going to stifle myself because it might upset someone. I'm not.
And that's why we love you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you've only got to listen to the Matthew Shepard episode to know how I can't control my feelings. So it is what it is, and I am who I am.
Yeah. So, shall we Blam?
Yeah.
It's a random.
I can't remember if I said thank you to Kat. So thank you so much, Kat. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you've interrupted my random blams. It's no longer a surprise now, but
sorry, let's rewind.
Are you ready to blam?
Yes, what a surprise.
Random blams. Go. Surprised myself, actually, because I haven't got one ready.
I actually do today. I've just realised how apt my blam is. Considering, honestly, not going to believe it. And anyone that's watching on YouTube, you can see that Sarah's cat, Susie, has joined the podcast.
And he's being a dickhead.
Trying to get a dickhead face into the microphone. Yeah, so you said that we've got our new subscriber, Kat.
Yep.
My blam is about cats.
Oh, all right then.
Just blown my mind with that. So my blam is the frequency of a cat's purr is believed to promote healing.
Yes.
And cats have a vast vocal repertoire with an estimated 100 different vocalization sounds compared to dogs who have 10. I was quite surprised that dogs have 10, to be honest.
You know what? I found Caesar's voice. You know what? We all go, oh, I wonder what your pet would sound like if they could talk. I found Caesar's.
Did you?
Yeah. He's going to be a derp. And when he's running. He's like, man, look all them flowers. Man, look, come look. Oh, a piece of chicken, great.
Yeah, he definitely is. He
He's
definitely has that. That voice suits him
I know.
perfectly.
His tongue is always out the side of his
Yeah.
mouth as well. And he's like, oh, Mum, I found the rabbit earlier. Look.
Bless him.
Yeah, it's so funny. So, anyways,
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Can I just add to the end of my blam? Because
I do apologise.
one of our no, it's fine. One of our subscribers, Lisa, was talking to me the other day about Lewis's knee. So Lewis fractured his kneecap. He got kicked really hard playing football, right in his kneecap, and it fractured his knee. So Lisa contacted me and said about this, cats purr on this frequency that is meant to like heal bones. And when I got the message, I was just about to go into Lewis's bedroom. So I thought, I'll bear that in mind, because he sleeps with we've got 4 cats, and he sleeps with one of the cats, or one of the cats sleeps with him rather, every night. So I went in to tell him about this purring frequency that heals bones and that, because she said, oh, maybe you could encourage one of the cats to like sleep in his room. And I thought, well, one of the cats does sleep in his room all the time. And when I went in, one of our cats that always sleeps in there with him was literally curled up. She got a really loud purr, and she was purring right next to his knee. And I told him, I played him the message, and I said, oh, this is what Lisa was saying. And he said, this is where she always sleeps, like right next to my knee. And he said, it's quite nice because I can feel like the vibration of her purr on my knee. And also it's nice and warm. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. Anyway, next day he had a hospital appointment, went to the hospital, and they said, it's really weird, but we can't find the fracture that we originally thought about. Healed. And I was like, hallelujah. And I was like, he's healed. Yeah. So coincidence? I think not. I think we've got a special doctor cat.
Yeah. So we do that every night, because Susie generally doesn't come and say hello ever. She's always upstairs. But of a night time when we get into bed, she'll always lay on my front. Always. Yeah. Or if I'm like on my front, she'll lay on my back and she'll purr. And she's not a very friendly cat. She always purrs. And I'm like, oh, Susie, I'm trying to go asleep. And Josie's like, she's healing you. And I'm like, from what though? I feel fine. What does she know that I don't?
I felt all right first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. She could be keeping things at bay. She could be sensing that maybe you might be coming down with something, and she might be like, I'll just pop up and give her a quick purr treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susie.
If you've got any dodgy bones or anything, then get a cat, stick it on you.
All right. Well, my random blam I've just found because I wasn't prepared. And it's another animal one. Oh, and it says, dragonflies suck water up their butts and shoot it out like jets when they get tired.
Same.
Yeah. But then it also says, after successfully mating, a female dragonfly will fake her own death to discourage further attention from males.
Again, same.
So
fake my own death. Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, that's cool. I had no idea about that. Sucking water up their butts.
All right, so random blams then. Done.
We're so informative, aren't we?
Well, I love that.
So much information.
I love our random
quality information.
Yeah, because who else is going to tell you that dragonflies suck water up their bum and shoot it out? Schools don't do that. No. Yeah. Whenever you going to learn that? Never.
Not unless you're a Perplexed podcast listener. All right. Well, any other business?
No other business currently.
Okay. Let's episode then.
All right.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. I love that people posted like
Yeah.
morning, or they put
Morning.
morning. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I've read it, and I was like, oh, morning,
Yeah.
morning to you.
Yeah.
Well, morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 123.
Ah, that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah, noticed that this morning, and I was like, oh, 123. 123 episodes,
Good Lord.
and still not professional.
Never.
I think that's probably a theme that we're just going to keep going with
Well, I'll
when we're
try.
on season 27.
I'm still munching on me crisps,
Yeah,
yawning.
still eating, yawning, and yeah, the microphone will still keep cutting me out. Well, I've got a fun episode today.
Great.
So it's not going to be emotional. It's not going to be inappropriate to laugh at. It's yeah, it was just an episode that I heard of, and one bit in particular I was like, what? Just crazy. So yeah, nice, easy, light-hearted episode. And it is called Timothy Dexter, the Informer of Deer.
All right.
And it comes under the category of just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just a story. So if you are using this episode to go to sleep to, that is appropriate. Nothing horrible in this, apart from my language and my face.
I went to raise my cup to my mouth and I just hit the laptop and just like earthquaked it.
Oh,
sorry to everyone watching.
Yeah, everyone thought there was an earthquake in Norfolk.
I always get really worried when you say, oh yeah, I've got this really fun episode. I think, oh God, is it the episode that I've just found? Is it the episode that I've just researched to read? Because we don't tell each other what our episodes are going to be.
Do you know, I always think that when I'm typing out the the episode name and I send you the invitation and I think, can you imagine if you like looked at that at one point and said, oh my God, I've just spent like 3 days researching and writing this up.
Yeah.
Well, we've done all right though, haven't we?
We have 123 episodes and we've never done the same one.
No, and some of those episodes contain like multiple stories. So yeah.
Well done.
Never done it yet. Watch out for the next episode. Yeah, but you absolutely would have, if you'd researched this story by me saying Timothy Dexter, the Informer of Deer, you would have gone, shit, I know that story.
Yeah, I don't know it, so crack on.
It's a weird one. So in the year 1747, in the small town of Malden in Massachusetts, there was a boy named Timothy Dexter, and he was born. He came into the world, and he came into the world with nothing. Him and his family had no money. There was no kind of silver spoon, no formal schooling, nothing. They had nothing. Timothy spent his childhood not reading Latin or debating philosophy like loads of other children. He pretty much just started working straight away, and he was a hard worker. As he got slightly older, he got a job at a tanning, I'll say factory, as a tanner, I guess. And we've spoken about tanners before, haven't we? And we went to, where did we go?
Nottingham,
yeah, where we actually saw one
the tanning pits,
tannery, and yeah, the tanning pits, and it's brutal.
Oh yeah,
and it's a really dirty, filthy, like they use like pigeon poo and
dog poo.
Yeah, everything. So it's proper gross. And one of his like jobs at the tannery was to scrape the hides.
Mm.
So they would stretch them out and he would scrape all the, well, basically like the flesh and skin of like the animal off the inside of the hides. He worked really hard at this. And for him, every scrape of the leather for him was a step towards something bigger. He didn't know what, but he knew that he was destined for greatness. And as he grew into this lanky, rough edged young man with big ambition and zero manners. He was quite unrefined, to say the least. And at the age of 19, he decided that he'd had enough of living in filth and poverty. And he thought, I need to get myself to Newburyport. And Newburyport was quite a sort of up and coming place. It was where a lot of people lived that had a lot of money. And he thought, that's the place for me. So he dug out his best suit and he sold it. And he
I was just going to say, put it on.
put it on and he sold it. And with the money that he got from his suit, he was able to relocate to Newburyport. When he got to Newburyport, he very quickly, after being there, he met Elizabeth Frothingham, and she was a very wealthy widow. And she had a massive, great big mansion type house, and she had a shit ton of money. She was looking for security and companionship. And to be honest, he was looking for opportunity. So, yeah, they got together, they got married, and Timothy went from being in this shitty, pissy pit, scraping hides, to suddenly being sort of part owner in many properties and had endless amounts of money. Elizabeth had like deep pockets. Pretty much as soon as he moved into Elizabeth's mansion, he decided that just being called Timothy Dexter wasn't really good enough. So he dubbed himself Lord Dexter. And he didn't become any more refined. He was just rich and rude. So he wanted to be like all the other rich people. He really wanted to feel like he was fitting in with the area and with the people that lived in the area. So he thought, well, I just need to do what they do. I don't need to work really hard for my money or anything because they don't. So what is it that they're all doing? Because they've got all this money. What are they doing with their time? And so he thought, all right, well, I'll just watch them and I'll learn from them and see what they're doing. And he learned that most of these rich guys had some sort of political position. So he thought, okay, that's what I want to do. I'm going to run for office. I'm going to become a politician. So he put himself up for the vote and he was like, vote for me. That's it. Just vote for me. But when you put yourself up for the voters to choose you, they need to know what they're voting for and who they're voting for. So they learn about you. And when the voters learned that he was from a really poor background and he'd pretty much just married into this money, and also they found out that he'd dropped out of school in the second grade. He couldn't read, he couldn't write. And as soon as they all found out about this, they were like, nope, no, thank you. He got nowhere in the election. He very quickly lost the election. And Timothy he didn't accept this. He was like, that can't be right. So he petitioned the town and he said, I want you to reconsider. And they were like, no, we said no. And he went, okay. And then the next day he sent another letter and they were like, no. Every time they got one of these letters, remember I just said he couldn't read or write at all. And they were like it'd been written in Russian. Like they had no idea what he was talking about in these letters. They were completely illegible.
How do you get such a grandiose ego from being brought up in such poverty?
I think, like, you know, as they say at Maybelline, he was born with it. Because it just seemed to always be in him, even when he was a like young boy, and he was, you know, he'd got this job in the tannery. He was like known for saying like, "This is just where I'm starting out, but I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be rich. This is not the life for me." So yeah, I think he was just born with it somehow. But yeah, so he kept sending all these like illegible letters, if you can call them letters. They were like scribbles on pieces of paper, and they were saying to him, we don't understand what this letter is. Like, we can't make it out. What is it? And he was like, well, I want you to reconsider me. I want to work in politics. I want to be a politician. And they were like, oh, no. So he kept sending them, and they kept looking at him and thinking, oh, for God's sake, I know what this is about. I can't read it. Throw it in the bin. Eventually, they kind of got sick of getting all these shit letters. So they were like, fine. You're not going to be technically in office, but we do have a position for you that we think only you could do.
And letter writer.
Yeah. And obviously Timothy was like over the moon with this, and he was like, oh, a position only I can do. I'm in. Like, I'm up for that. Sign me up straight away. So they were like, okay, so you are going to be the town's new informer of deer. And the job was to create reports of any and all deer activity in Newburyport. And this was a complete bullshit position because Newburyport had no deer, 0 deer. It had never had any deer. There'd never ever been even a sniff of a deer anywhere near Newburyport. But
I love that in the 1700s they were just full of banter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they were just like, yeah, we know what we can do. So yeah, so they made him the informer of deer, and he was ecstatic with this. And he was like, right, don't worry, I won't let you down. I'm gonna be the best informer of deer that you ever did see. And they were like, oh yeah, all right, off you go. So he went off, and obviously they gave him this position to not only keep him happy and stop him sending all these ridiculous letters, but kind of as a bit of humiliation towards him as well. They all were sort of laughing behind his back. None of them liked the fact that he'd like married into money, like he was new money. And they didn't like that. They, you know, not that they'd all been like super hard workers or anything, but
they're like trying to knock him down a peg.
Yeah, they were thinking, we'll just give him this bullshit position and laugh at him behind his back. But Timothy went away as the new informer of deer, and he was super happy, and he was ecstatic with himself because he thought, yes, my letters worked. I'm finally in Newburyport's political office. And he began making this journal of deer activity, of which there was none. He made notes and journals, and at the end of his term, he handed his journal and all his notes, and they were like, the most ridiculous drawings of deer. They were like, 2-year-old sort of versions of deer, with like 4 stick legs and like a little bubble head and things like that. And it was just ridiculous. And there was a load of writing, I guess, about, one day, or, I suspect I might be on the trail of a deer, so I'm gonna put all my efforts into like following this track. And and then the next day it was like, oh yeah, it turned out to be like a squirrel. So that's a shame, but I'm still on it and all that. But it again, it was almost completely illegible. So they literally just sort of said, oh, thank you very much, and it's been great, see you later. And he said, make sure you give all these notes and this journal to the next informer of deer. And the officials said, yes, we absolutely will. It'd be massively helpful, thank you. And as soon as he walked out the door, they threw it in the bin. And as Timothy left the office, he felt very accomplished with all the good work that he'd done in politics. And he said, right, now it's time to put my skills to something different. Because in his mind, he'd conquered the world of politics. And he thought, right, now I'm going to conquer something new. So, and then he thought, right, well, what else is it that all these rich guys do? They invest. So he thought, right, I'll become an investor. So during the Revolutionary War between the American colonies and England, the Americans made their own currency to pay their troops. And this was called the Continental Dollar. And the Continental Dollar was different in as much as it wasn't backed by silver or gold like normal money. It was based on a promise of future value, as long as America won the war. And at that point, no one thought America was going to win the war. And it was massively overprinted, and it created massive inflation. And so the Continental Dollar became pretty much worthless. And in short, the Continental Dollar became a joke. It was there was so much of it, and it was at such a low value that people would actually burn it or just use it as like scrap paper. It was about it had as much worth as like a newspaper. It was ridiculous. Many rich people were buying these dollars from the American troops because they had a lot of money and they felt bad for their troops. They felt bad for the soldiers because they were like, they've just, they've been fighting this war and they've been paid with continental dollars that's now worth shit. And these soldiers are now like destitute. So they were doing that purely as almost like a bit of like charity. Do you know what I mean? They were saying, well, we'll buy them off of you, not because we need it, because they're worth shit. But they were doing it to help out the soldiers. So Timothy observed the fact that a lot of these rich guys were buying these continental dollars. And he asked them about it, and they said, well, if America wins the war, then the government will back it. So then it will be worth loads of money. So that's why we're doing it. And Timothy thought, oh, right, shit, right, I'm going to do that. So he bought piles and piles of these continental dollars for like pennies. And he put all of his money into this investment because he was like, America's going to win the war and then it will be worth loads. So I'm going to put every penny I've got into this like continental dollar. So that's what he did. So everyone was laughing at him again. And a lot of people were saying, Tim, you bought trash. Like, what are you thinking? You've spent all your money on this. But as luck would have it, America won the war, and the US government shocked everyone, apart from Timothy, by saying, yep, we'll honour it. We'll back the continental dollar. And just like that, Timothy Dexter became one of the richest people in America. So, with his newfound riches, Timothy bought the biggest, fanciest ass house in Newburyport. All the other rich guys were super pissed off by this because they were like, all right, well, now he's got a really big fucking house right in the middle of Newburyport. It's bigger than my house. He's got all these millions because he bought this stupid continental dollar that's now worth loads. But for Timothy Dexter, this enormous fancy mansion just wasn't Timothy Dexter enough. It wasn't Lord Dexter enough. So he decided to have 40 enormous wooden statues built in his front garden. And these statues were of notable famous figures, leaders, if you will. People like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Napoleon Bonaparte, and obviously the biggest one, Lord Timothy Dexter. And this was twice the size of all the others. And
I'm just looking now, actually. They're all standing on massive podiums.
Yeah. The inscription on his statue, don't look too much in case you ruin the story for yourself. Yeah, so and they all had inscriptions underneath of like who they were and what they were known for and that kind of thing. Under Timothy Dexter's one, the inscription read, I am the first in the East, I am the first in the West, and the greatest philosopher in the Western world.
Wow.
Yeah.
The greatest informer of deer ever.
Yeah. And only. When the sculptor was done, Timothy came out to admire his statues, and he was walking around and he was looking. And when he got to Thomas Jefferson's statue, which underneath it said, the author of the Declaration of Independence, which is correct. That's exactly who Thomas Jefferson was. Timothy said to the sculptor, oh, no, wait a minute, that's wrong. Sculptor said, what do you mean? And Timothy said, it should say the author of the Constitution. The sculptor said, I'm paraphrasing here. The sculptor said, no, mate, that's not right. And Timothy went, So Timothy skulked off inside without another word, left the sculptor standing there, sort of looking around thinking, shall I go? Or like, is he gone in to get payment or something for me? I don't know. Then, before he could have another thought fly through his head, Timothy appeared at his front door, came marching back out over to the sculptor, but this time he was holding a massive hunting rifle. And he raised the rifle and he started shooting at the sculptor's feet. And he was demanding that the sculptor changed it. And he said, you need to change that from saying the Declaration of Independence to the author of Constitution. Sculptor was like, shit, all right, I'll change it. So he did, changed it. And then Timothy said, great, okay, now you've corrected your mistake. I'll have a look at the others. He got over to George Washington and he said, well, this isn't right either. And the sculptor sort of, what now? And so Timothy said, don't worry, I'll do it myself. He grabbed a paintbrush and he painted over the words George Washington, and he painted over it with the word Pitt. Nothing else, just Pitt. And Pitt was another political leader that Timothy always used to get confused with George Washington. And nobody could convince him any different. They were like, no, that's George Washington, or no, that's Pitt. And he was like, no, that's George Washington and that's Pitt. So anyway, the sculptor was just like, whatever. It's your
Yes, you please, mate.
your statue. Do what the fuck you want, mate. So that was it. So all the other rich guys were now absolutely enraged at Timothy with all these stupid statues and his stupid big house and his stupid millions of dollars in the bank. And they went, do you know what? Why don't we welcome him in a little bit? And between us, I'm pretty sure we can send him bankrupt. So they were all like, yeah, let's do that. So they said, all right, well, the way we can get around this is we'll give him really, really shit investment advice. He's so stupid, he'll believe us, and then he'll send himself bankrupt. So the first plan that they put into place, and they said, right, Timothy, we've got some investment advice if you're interested. And Timothy was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, because I'm an investor. And they were like, okay. So they said, what you need to do is you need to buy yourself a couple of really big ships. And then you need to fill these ships with bed warmers. And then you need to send them to the Caribbean. They'll love it. They'll eat it up out there. And Timothy went, oh, brilliant. Thanks. Thanks for that. Yeah, I will. I'll do that. So he loaded up, he bought a couple of really big ships and he loaded them with 40,000 bed warmers and shipped them off to the Caribbean. Timothy knew that bed warmers were really popular and they sold really well in Newburyport, where it's cold. Not being very well educated, he did not think about the Caribbean being absolutely roasting hot, so nobody would need them. But obviously his rich mates did, and that's exactly why they were doing it. So when his ships went off, Timothy's standing on the shore waving them off, going, this is great, I'm gonna make millions from this. Everyone's standing behind his back laughing. And as it turns out, they didn't need bed warmers, and they certainly didn't need 40,000 of them. However, they needed them to scoop molasses. And they said, do you know what? These are brilliant. These big handled pans,
Sturdy pans,
that are nice and deep and sturdy, and they've got thick metal. They're great. We can scoop the molasses. Works perfectly. And they bought all 40,000 of these bed warmers, and Timothy made millions from it. Again, Timothy went to all his rich mates and he was like, oh mate, thank you so much. I have got so much money. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. I can't even decide what I'm going to do with it now. Maybe more statues, maybe not. And these rich guys were like, oh, I'm so happy for you. That's great. And Timothy was like, I'm just going to go and dive in, roll around in all my millions of dollars. But thanks for that. Bye. And he went off, and they were like, right. Now this is getting fucking stupid now. This is not funny anymore. What are we going to do? One of the guys went, I've got an idea. I know exactly what to tell him. So next day, got him back, and they said, oh, happy for you about the bedpans.
Honestly,
really,
this is
really
cracking me up.
really happy for you, mate. we've got another really good investment idea for you. And Timothy went, brilliant. Not that I need the money, eh? And they were like, fuck off. Yeah, 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 that's true. And they were like, yeah, what you should do is get your ships, because now they're empty of all these fucking 40,000 bedpans. Get your ships, fill them with loads of fucking coal, as much coal as you can get on there. Fill the underneath, you strap bags of them to the side, everything. Like, get everyone on board to hold things, fill the crow's nest, as much coal as you can, and send it to Newcastle in England, and then sell it. They'll love that. You'll make loads. Timothy went, oh, that's a great idea. I don't know about Newcastle. Never heard of it because, uneducated. That sounds like a great idea. And you've never let me down, have you? And these guys were like, yeah, no, we haven't. Yeah, all right. Go and do that then, yeah? Timothy was like, I know, because your advice has been spot on so far. And they were like, yeah. Go and get your coal and send it now. Like, don't wait. So he was like, all right, fine. So he went and he got his 2 massive, great big boats, and he put as much coal on it as possible. Now, I need to tell you, at this time in the world, Newcastle was known as the coal capital of the world. They had so much coal. There was even a saying where, like we say, oh, he's so good at sales, he could sell ice to the Eskimos.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. And so if someone was doing something that was completely pointless and ridiculous, they would say, that's like sending coal to Newcastle. Like, they knew all about it. So anyway, so Timothy's 2 ships laden with coal were sent off to Newcastle, and these guys were sniggering, and they were going, do you know what? This will fuck him up for sure. I mean, as if these 2 great big ships are going to turn up in Newcastle, and everyone in Newcastle is going to be like, what the actual fluff are you doing? Timothy was waving his ships off. Bye, coal. Off you go to England. And as it turned out, in Newcastle, all the miners, for the first time, had gone on strike. And Newcastle, for the first time ever, was running out of coal. And just as everyone in Newcastle were going, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're the coal capital of the world. This is embarrassing. We've got like no coal. One of the others was like, yeah, what's that behind you? And they turned around, there's 2 great big fucking ships full of coal. And they turned up at Newcastle, and they were like, do you want to buy any coal by any chance? And like the whole of Newcastle were like, thank fuck. And they were like, yeah, we'll have it. And they were like, okay, how much do you want? And they were like, yeah, we'll have as much as you got. And they were like, all right, you can have loads. Short time later, Timothy's ships arrived at Newburyport, laden with money. And he was like, oh, this is great. Went to his mates and he was like, cha-ching. And all his rich mates were like, I'm going to fucking stab him. Honestly, I'm fucking fuming. They were like, Jesus Christ. It couldn't have gone any worse for them. They were like, Jesus Christ. And they went, Bob, do something about this. And Bob was like, all right, well, I've got a plan. I don't know if his name was Bob, but I like to think it was. And they were like, he went, I've got a plan. He might see through this. There is a chance that he might see through this. But, let's try it. So they said, Timothy, before you go, Bob's got a really good investment plan. We're all going to get on it. Like, before you go, do you want to do that? And he was like, oh, I just couldn't get out the door with all my fucking money. And they were like, well, seeing as you're here anyway. And he was like, yeah, what about it, Bob? And Bob went, what you should do is you should go down to the seashore, and you should collect up all the rotten disgusting, stinking whalebone. Like all the bones that have washed up on the ship with all like fucking bits of like rotting whale hanging off them and all that. You should get that because that's going to be worth a lot of money soon. Timothy was like, say no more. You have never steered me wrong. And they were like, just fucking go to the beach, will you? And get all your stinking whalebone. And he was like, I can't, honestly, I can't thank you enough. And they were like, honestly, Tim, fuck off. So Tim was like, all right. So he headed down and he collected up all this rotting, stinking bits of whale with all the bone and guts and blubber and everything hanging off of it. And he put it all like down in his like a storehouse or basement or something like that. I mean, he had a massive fucking mansion. So yeah, so he put it all in his basement or storehouse or whatever, all this stinking whalebone. And everyone was like, I mean, that's just going to stink his house out and everything. And when they said to him, how's your mansion, Tim? How's your mansion? Stinking, is it? Timothy went, oh, no, I haven't got all that whalebone anymore. And they were like, what? And he said, yeah, because, I mean, you said that whalebone was going to come into money. And yet again, cha-ching, you were right. And they were like, fuck off, as if. Who the hell did you sell that to? And he went, well, when word got out that I had all this whalebone, I managed to sell the lot and I've shipped it all over to Paris because fashion designers in Paris were making corsets. And in corsets were pieces of whalebone. So the price of whalebone suddenly rocketed and he sold it all, cha-ching, made millions from that, went to his rich mates and he was like, honestly, and they went, look, shut it. No need to thank us, seriously. We haven't got any more investment advice at the moment. We need to like go away and think about this. And Timothy was like, no need. I've thought of a brilliant idea all by myself. And if you guys want to get in on it, you know, you're more than welcome. And they were like, honestly, get lost, Tim. Like, we ain't about it. Like, just do one. So Timothy, and they went, look, just hang on, before you go, what's your idea that you're going to invest in? And they thought, I mean, maybe we'll get on that because he seems to be doing well. And he said, what my idea is, I'm going to go to the like animal shelter and I'm going to buy all the stray cats that they've got that are about to be euthanized. They're like emaciated and scabby and, you know, gross. And they're going to be put to death anyway. So I'm going to buy all of these cats and I'm going to put them all on my 2 ships, like thousands of cats this was. And I'm going to send them to the Caribbean like I did with the bedpans, because I think they'd be good house pets. I think people in the Caribbean would like them. And the rich guys were like, oh, all right, yeah. Well, we might get in on that later, but yeah, not at the moment. And they were like, oh my God, all the times we've tried to ruin him and he's gonna ruin himself. I mean, this is hilarious, finally. And they sat back and they thought, right, great. And Tim's ships arrived in the Caribbean, and the Caribbean was under a massive rat infestation that was ruining their crops, eating all their supplies. And straight away they were like, I want a cat, I want a cat, I want a cat, I want a cat. And they bought every single cat, and these cats became heroes overnight. So dare I say it, but cha-ching again. And you know, Tim was like, do you know what? I've conquered the investment world. And he thought to himself, I wonder what people are going to think about me when I'm gone. Like, what am I going to be remembered for? Being a great politician, probably. Being the master of investment, definitely. But he didn't know. He wasn't sure. He thought, I don't know how people are going to think about me when I die. And he needs to know. He needs to know how people are going to feel about him when he's dead. So he thinks, all right, well, in order for me to truly find out, I'll need to die. So he dies. Or at least everyone thinks he dies, because Timothy fakes his own death. And then he thinks, the best part of this is I'm going to go to my own funeral. I'll hide, but I'll go to my own funeral and I'll watch everyone. So he does. He turns up at his funeral, and there's a good few thousand people there. And he's watching everyone and he's trying to listen and all that. And when he starts watching his wife, Elizabeth, he thinks she actually doesn't look that sad. And at least to Tim, she didn't look sad enough. And this instantly enraged him. Like, he was furious. So he leapt out in front of everyone, leapt out and started beating his wife with a stick. He was like, you bitch, you should have been devastated because you thought I died. You're out of order. So obviously everyone was like, the fuck? What the hell, Tim? And Timothy decided that in regards to Elizabeth, he didn't like her anymore. He was just like, I don't like you. But obviously, like, they lived together and like she did shit for him and things like that. So he still lived with her, but he just said, like, I'm not about you anymore. No, thank you. He thought about it more and more, and he kind of stewed on it a little bit and was thinking, God, what bitch? What bitch? Like, she should have been fucking devastated. And there was rumor that she had an affair as well. And he was just like, you're not giving me the respect that I need. So he thought a good way of kind of getting back at her a little bit was he went round and he told everyone that she was dead. Oh, how's Elizabeth? Oh, no, she's dead. And everyone was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he was like, whatever. And not bothered. But Timothy would still have people go into his mansion because he wanted people to go to his mansion and like wonder at it and be like, oh, it's so beautiful and it's so big. And look, oh, what's that room? And he was like, that's one of my money rooms. And what's that room? Oh, that's another money room. And they were like, fucking hell. But obviously when people went to Timothy's mansion, they saw Elizabeth. Like, she lived there as well. And she was like walking around. She was like, you know, you're right, love. Do you want a drink? And they were like, what the fuck? No, like, Timothy, you told me your wife was dead. And he went, she is. And they went, she's not, mate. She's standing behind you. And he went, oh, that's her ghost. Just he insisted to everyone that was like, I thought your wife was dead, mate. She's like, she literally just brought me a cup of tea. He was like, no, that's her ghost. Yeah, no, she's dead. And at that point, Timothy was so fucking rich that no one really wanted to like argue with him or like dispute it. And they were just like, oh, okay, can you just thank the ghost of your wife for the coffee and the sandwiches that she made me, like that? And he was like, yeah, whatever, bye. Yeah, so it was just really weird. Sometime after that, Timothy wrote a book called A Pickle for the Knowing Ones. Nobody understood why he titled it like that. Nobody understood the book. But it sold out straight away because everyone just thought it was so ridiculous and so bizarre. And I have to say, I have it on order.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, but it didn't come in time for me to do this episode. But I can't wait to look through it, and maybe on one of the future episodes, like we'll come back to this episode and I'll read some of it, or maybe we can like post some of it on our socials. But yeah, so it sold out really quickly.
Can I just read the first bit of Wikipedia?
Yeah.
And it says, the book uses unorthodox spelling and grammar and contains almost no punctuation.
That's actually the next bit that I was going to read.
Oh,
so that's fine. So this book literally had no punctuation in it at all. And people started teasing Tim about the fact that his book had no punctuation at all. So he had it printed again a second time with one small change. It had one extra page at the back with nothing but punctuations, just random punctuations all over. And then at the bottom, it said, go ahead and sprinkle these wherever you see fit.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And in 1806, Lord Timothy Dexter, the former and only informer of deer, passed away. And I will send some pictures to Sarah, or you could probably get the pictures, but I'll send you some pictures of his house. I mean, a lot of the earlier ones are like just sketches of his house. They're not actual pictures, but yeah, so that is my story for today. Timothy Dexter, the informer of deer.
Honestly, that was hilarious.
I told you it was going to be a funny one, didn't you? I was cracking up when I was reading, because I can see the whole story in my mind. So it was really easy for me to tell the story.
Yeah, honestly, that's been one of my favourite ones that you've done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that because I just thought it was such a funny, weird story.
Yeah.
And I loved the bit where they said, your wife's not dead. She's there. And he was like, no, that's Ghost. And they were like, wait. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, I so enjoyed telling that. Honestly,
yeah.
I thought that was a story that we had to have.
Yeah, but only you could have done that. I wouldn't have done that any justice. That 100% was your story to do.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And
yeah, I love that. I kept waiting to go, oh God, what are they going to tell him next?
I know, so
what are they going to get
funny.
him to do now?
And the fact that, I mean, not only he was just massively lucky with his business decisions and things, but for the fact that he then went, I've got my own idea. I'm going to buy a whole load of like rank cats and sent them to the Caribbean, and they were just like, brilliant. Yeah.
What a great idea.
What a great idea. And then they got out there and they were like, thank God you've sent all these cats. They came just in time. Brilliant. Oh, just brilliant.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I loved that story. And as soon as I started reading about it, I was like, absolutely, this is the story that I'm going to do. I couldn't have been more into it. So it made it easy to write, but
loved it.
Yeah, hope you all enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you. I needed that.
Welcome. Good. I'm glad. I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right then.
All right. Well, I'll catch you guys on the next one then.
Yep. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. And he was like, I can't, honestly, I can't thank you enough. And they were like, honestly, Tim, fuck off.